Going to go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in the position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
All right, welcome in, guys. We are live in the Joe Kools basement. We're here. We're supporting local businesses. We've got some friends with us. We got Dave Brown. We got Alex. I'm not going to pretend to say his last name because I heard Chad say it twice. But,
I said it right for once.
Yeah,
I said the last name right.
It sounded like the guy that was going to fight Lennox Lewis, and I'm not sure. So I'll let him say it when it comes to him. But we're happy you guys are here. We appreciate you coming on. You know, everyone's here to support Joe Kools. So yeah, what it comes down to is we had a great weekend of football.
Did we ever?
So we're going to jump in, and the question that I'm going to ask the group right off the top, because everyone's saying the Bucs were so bad, but I'm over here thinking, are the Bucs that bad, or maybe are the Rams just that good?
The Rams are definitely a good defense, and they're showing me more than I thought they did. You've been kind of hype on them for a few weeks now. Yeah, you've been good. But I honestly just think it's Tom Brady was playing horrible. Can't take any deep shots, and against a defense like the Rams, you have to take those deep shots when you get them. Just weren't there.
But every time you took a deep shot, there was a defensive player there. So I mean, is that good defense, or is that really like bad decision making?
You got three receivers: Godwin, Evans, Brown. All can fight for the ball. Doesn't matter if a DB's on them or not.
Sounds like a politician.
Hold on, not everybody over there in LA is Jalen Ramsey. Okay, there's some lower tier cornerbacks that those wide receivers should have been able to pick on, and we saw that later on when Mike Evans had that touchdown. That type of physicality is what should have come out the entire game.
Later on, it's the second quarter.
Yeah, Darius Williams. What was the guy's name?
The one that got run over by him.
Yeah, he kept punching the ball.
Yeah, the one that he stepped back. Yeah,
that was wild.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It was a bad defensive play, but we didn't see that physicality. If Tom Brady had a little bit of that help with that physicality, I think those complete deep shots would have been there. I don't care if a cornerback's right over.
Our offensive line played like shit.
And they lost somebody early, right?
No, he came back in. He played banged up, but they played like shit. Tom had no time, which has been the thing. Every team he's lost against, I should say, their front four is just beat up on our O-line.
Yeah. And you know what's absurd? I don't mean to cut you, but did you know that Tom Brady has never played in the playoffs as a wild card?
Yeah, I found that last night.
That's fucked.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But like, you're an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And you know your job is 3 seconds, you're laughing. Like 3 seconds of it, you did a fucking amazing job.
Totally. Especially with Tom Brady.
Yeah. He wasn't getting 3 seconds.
No, absolutely not.
And his feet were never set. He looked so... I think the trust in the offensive line is a big problem.
As soon as you're panic like that, you're not going to throw properly. There's no chance.
Yeah.
And the communication isn't there. Like, he looks scared back there. He's like, we all know he can't run.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, I can guarantee you, as all banged up as all of us that we are, we can all run a better fucking 40 than Tom Brady.
For sure.
Yeah, I fell on the stairs today, and I still went on the treadmill this morning.
Yeah, so, there's no faith on O-line, which they have to figure out something because Bruce Arians' offense is to take shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're trying to adjust it. Antonio Brown's been in the offense for 2 weeks. He's our best receiver.
Yeah.
Because he can run the routes that Tom needs, but their timing isn't there.
But for Antonio Brown, he has the most experience in Bruce Arians' offense.
Yeah.
He was there when they were in
I'm talking him and Tom, like, they're only 2 weeks together, right? It's like they don't, like, when we thought Antonio was open, Tom didn't hit him.
Yeah.
Where Tom thought Antonio was supposed to be, he wasn't there. Mm-hmm. That being said, that was our whole fucking receiving core.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tom's putting a ball where he thinks it's supposed to be, and those guys aren't there. So that's a communication thing, but that's also a trust between Tom and his O-line. Mm-hmm. He's definitely forcing those throws that normally would be there and that would make it.
Yeah.
But he's throwing it a half second earlier, which a half second in the NFL, or as far as you guys know, like a half second in football is so fucking
huge.
bad.
Yeah.
That's the difference between the touchdown catch with AD last night and not.
I know that I bet the Antonio Brown over. It was like 51.5 receiving yards, and I won a couple Skittles. So I was happy about that.
Good for you guys.
The guy had like 9 catches. So.
Yeah. I know from what I saw from the game, I know they moved their center Ryan Jensen to left guard just to accommodate for blocking Aaron Donald. And I think that the whole line for the Bucs just focused too much on blocking Aaron Donald. Like, he had 0 sacks. He was effective. When I was watching the game, he jumps off the screen with his get off. He's just electric how he gets off the ball. But I think their entire like scheme was predicated on stopping him, and all the other guys who had one-on-ones were able to get home and get to the quarterback. So that was the biggest game changer for me. And I guess if I'm going to answer the question, I'd say the Rams were good because their front four played dominantly. The recipe to beat Tom Brady, going back to 07 and like 2011, is having those front four guys being able to rush the quarterback without any kind of blitz.
Yeah, you don't have
as
to
soon
blitz
as
him.
that's how you beat Tom Brady. That's the only way.
And then Jalen just did his thing.
Yeah, absolutely. They have it in the back end as well, which allows those guys to get home even more.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
So, like,
I had a question about to do with the offensive line, the Jensen move there. So that was done a couple weeks ago. That was Bruce Arians made that move to bring in his boy Shipley because he thought that
Shipley got hurt, so the Jets had to
Yeah.
go back to center and run him back up technical
Okay.
guard. So
yeah, so they're dealing with some bang up there for sure. But I was kind of questioning that move in a sense because you just feel you don't move your center.
He plays good football from what I've seen. When he's playing center, like he is definitely in charge. Up there with Ronnie Hudson this year for one of the best centers in the NFL.
It's just one of those moves that Arians makes again that as an outsider looking in who doesn't pay attention to the Bucs every single day, every week. It's like why? Why is this an ego move? Because he's bringing in his boy. He's bringing in
okay,
Shipley.
now Mike Vrabel did that same move. Would you have the same response?
If Mike Vrabel touches our O-line, I'm going to be a little bit worried as a defensive coach.
Just totally different.
Yeah.
Just ask the question.
But hey, like you're the head coach, you have to be able to look at everything. Like
I agree, but the line up to that point wasn't playing poorly. They could have been playing better, but they weren't playing
I don't think
poorly.
Jensen's played good at all this year.
That's
okay.
fake news. No, he's good. No.
I don't think he's a good center.
Jensen's a
I don't
good
think
center.
him and Tom are on the same page.
I think that at the end of the day, this team is kind of like a super team. It's like basketball when the Warriors sign KD or like hockey.
It's going to take time, yeah.
Yeah, it's not those two sports where you can just kind of like, all right, boys, let's go play. You know what I mean? Like football is a sport that so much chemistry needs to go be had, and there's like not enough OTAs and not an extended preseason this year. Like it's hard to just make it all work when you don't have that time to develop.
I just don't think Jensen and Tom are on the same page.
I think
I mean,
absolutely.
I think
Also-
that's what the issue is. I don't think
Yeah.
that not Jensen's not good and like Tom
Yeah.
can't figure it out. It's the two of them together. It's like
Leftwich likes to bail on the run game too quickly.
Way too early. Yeah, like, I don't understand why you have this stable of running backs.
Just because you're not breaking all these things for 10, 12, 15 yards doesn't mean that you stop doing it. And they stopped running the ball in the second half, and I mean, you saw the difference.
Yeah.
He needs to watch a little bit of Titans film. We do not give that run up. And look what it worked for us
Just
yesterday.
like bending the rock.
Don't worry, guys. He's gonna get his Titans top. Don't worry.
I'm just saying, hey, we're leave
Yeah.
that.
As sure as Joe Kools will drop pizza and wings off at your house, Kaylin will talk about the Titans on this show.
some point we'll get
There is
to
no
you.
doubt about it. And if you haven't pre-ordered for the turkey bowl, you should definitely do so because they're starting to fill up.
Call the order in.
Call your order in. Ask for Amy. Tell her that you want the cornstarch special. Yeah, we've had enough of the Bucks and the Rams because Chad could go about this all night and Kaylin could talk about the Titans, whatever. But we're gonna move on because we have a local team that we think is gonna be searching for a new coach. Is that the right move? First off, and does that really turn around what happens with the Lions? And what do we need to do to fix the Lions? Because Mike Smith, who anybody that doesn't know, owns this place, and he asked us, and we don't actually make the decisions, but we might as well talk about it.
I think he said that we should just all go in as the coach, right?
Yeah.
But who was the coach for Detroit before? I can't remember what his name was.
Caldwell?
Jim Caldwell.
Yeah.
Jim Caldwell, yeah. And I think Patricia has got far less wins than Caldwell ever got as far as
For sure,
Jim's
yeah.
goes, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what more he needs to prove at how bad of a coach he is. He can handle 1 year, and he's not even handling his defense very well. I think what you were talking earlier in a few podcasts ago, you're either a head coach, you're a position coach, you're a line coach. You figure out your place, or a coordinator.
Yeah.
You find your spot and you do well in that spot. And I think we're figuring out that Patricia's not ahead. He's had to change his entire approach. He can't use the New England approach anymore. His team hated him for the last 2 years. I read a report earlier that the players were walking out with boomboxes last season talking about, see you never coming back here. Can you imagine how lucky you are to play in the NFL, and you're already severing a tie with a team for sure. There's with 31 other teams right then and there, right? Who else is going to sign you potentially?
That's wild.
Yeah,
Especially when that whole coaching staff's going to get fired. You don't know where any of these guys are going to end up, right? That's burning bridges all over the place.
Yeah, and I just don't think that he's proved anything as far as the transition at all. Stafford has been out of a couple weeks.
I love Stafford.
Yeah, I think he's,
Big Stafford, yeah.
as A-Rod talked about, he doesn't get a whole lot of hype, unfortunately, because he's in Detroit and they've been pulled for so long. But it's time. It's time Patricia goes. It's time the GM might even be going because the talent level they've drafted has not been there to recoup what they've lost at all.
I think at this point, Patricia's gone. 100%. He has to be gone. He
Before or at the end of the season?
I think it's before.
Okay.
I think you have to make a statement.
If they were going to make the statement, I think that they would have done that.
I think they would
Carolina
have
game.
done it too.
Yeah.
But he proved the New England way doesn't work everywhere.
No.
And you're not Bill Belichick, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick does it his way. He's done it his way for a long time. But Bill Belichick didn't come in 1999 doing the Bill Belichick way.
But when it comes down to it, like the Belichick way or the Patriots way, look at all the coaching tree out there. I mean, who has really succeeded from
Yeah, no, it's...
I mean, the most successful person at this point is...
Was he even a coach? He was a player.
I was going to say Brian Flores.
In
but-
Flores.
What happened to Fraves?
Of course you would.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a coach. He was a
I
player.
mean, if you want to give credit to Vrabel, it's because he got drafted by the Steelers. But we can...
Wow!
But that's just a fact.
I get what you're
Yeah,
saying. Yeah. He got his break in the NFL from the Steelers.
Yeah. Well, hey, everyone gets their break somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it just shows that he's a coordinator. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually time that the Lions move on from Matt Stafford.
Wow.
You've let too many players go and die in your franchise. And right now, Matt Stafford is that face.
Yep.
And unfortunately, where you guys are at, it's time to move on and go from there. I think if you
That was
keep
us
it-
ordering beer, by the way.
Yeah,
If
we're
you
just
guys
gonna
are
wave
wondering.
at our sort. Beer me.
She has goggles on, it's okay.
I think if they keep him, you're actually going to hurt your franchise more. You had that top 5 pick again. It's what you guys have had numerous times.
Right.
There's so many young quarterbacks that you can bring in with a new coach and do it his way. And the game has changed. As I know you can attest this, you can definitely attest this too. The game is going towards more athletic quarterbacks.
Yep.
So let me ask you, Chad. So you think Patricia's done 100%?
Patricia's gone. I think
No chance of he's not here for 2020.
No, and I
But-
think you bring in
so
a
you
coach
think-
and you bring in a new quarterback.
So you
go
think,
with your
so
guy.
you
do
think
that
hypothetically,
with
so I got a question then. Hypothetically, you think the best option, you're a college football guy.
I-
Yes, I'm not a big college guy. Are you guys, Shane?
Yeah.
you guys like college. So then, if they explore the avenue of drafting a quarterback, who are your options? And I think they're right now seated at, what, the 8th spot in the draft? You think it's better to deload Stafford, trade up if possible? Or
you're
is the
gonna
quarterback
get
fall in the hands?
You're getting Justin Fields.
He
Yeah,
jumped
for
to
sure.
8. He's going to go number 2 overall, man.
No,
He's
no,
like-
he says
Yeah, he's definitely going number 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can trade up to 2. Cool. Or
With
I think you get Trey Lance.
I don't know, bro.
And there's outside, like, the kid from Florida.
Florida's there, and the kid from
And-
BYU.
That's right, the Florida kid.
And you know, I really, really like Mac Jones. I think that he can command an offense.
Right,
And he's from Alabama. He's,
right.
yeah.
And the
I
kid
thought
from
that he was
BYU.
probably going to be this year's Joe Burrow.
Sure.
But all the analysts, which probably pay more attention than I do, say that Kyle Trask is going to be the Joe Burrow this year. Which
Where's he at?
He's the
He's
Florida
a Florida,
kid. He's
yeah.
the Florida kid. He's the
I just think as a coach coming in, it makes more sense to take your guy.
Fair enough.
100%.
And if you have Stafford and you walk in, then your leash is a little bit tighter. If you can convince ownership to get rid of Stafford and get draft picks and start to build, you're probably buying yourself maybe 3 years. Like that's likely the Brian
Yeah.
Flores way of going about it.
Fair enough. But I think that in Miami there wasn't a quarterback who deserved to keep his job.
So,
There
yeah,
was,
you're right.
That was a
Like,
different.
what has Stafford done to
Complete
lose
lose
his job?
I don't think Stafford
I don't
deserves
think
to
he
lose.
does.
No,
I think to
you
him-
let him walk.
To
I think
him,
it's
I would
just-
say you let You let him walk and you maybe work with his agent to go to a team
outside of your car.
that's
I'm
better.
I
That makes
guarantee
his
if
career
he
a little
goes
bit.
to a good situation, Stafford can win a Super Bowl. Like,
So,
he's that
100%,
good.
you know, like
and so why would
imagine.
you let that player go?
Here's why you let it go.
Because you're not
It's
gonna,
not.
it's not gonna help you.
And it's
Why
not.
not? You never know.
Maybe for sure. I don't think Stafford's done anything to lose his job.
No, I like
Fantastic. I'm actually
no,
one of the bigger Stafford
If he
fans
was
for the last
like
10 years.
teetering, like playing some like terrible football, then sure.
One thing
Yeah.
I would say is this, and if you look at the trends in like the last five, 6 years, anyways, if you get a new regime in the building, a new
Yeah.
quarterback, a coach comes in, of
take
course
your
you
guy.
want to take his own guy. Of course you want to
Yeah,
build
put him
and
a little
establish a
bit, yeah.
culture under your rules, like Shane said, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you do it for job security. Say people want to take a guy, you're guaranteed 2 to 4 years because
Yeah.
you're tied in with the quarterback, so it's a project that they develop. Nobody wants to see change in a workplace.
Yeah.
They don't see that in the
Right.
coaching ranks either. So one thing is to look at, obviously that would happen, but the bonus of taking a quarterback, Dave, would be this, is if you can actually leverage and deload Stafford to a team that might be on the cusp,
Yeah.
and you can acquire any draft capital.
Like
Okay?
you tell me the
Like a
Bears
stock-
get Stafford, they're not going to the
no,
Jets.
no,
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 yes,
no,
I mean,
for sure.
no,
So let me
the Bears.
explain
Nobody
this,
goes to
Dave.
the Bears,
So
but-
I'm thinking this, Dave. You're right. If the Bears are a team that should and could win a Super Bowl, they have
Yeah.
clearly a glaring gap at quarterback, and we've seen. I don't think the quarterback's the biggest issue. I think Nagy is a huge issue. I think he's the biggest issue, to be honest with you. But You're the Lions. You move off of Stafford. Here's the reason. I'm only saying this is a counter argument for you.
Yeah.
To keep him, you get off of him. You get draft picks, so you can acquire cheaper talent. And the NFL, we look at it, is a very fixed cap.
Yeah.
Right? And who have been the most successful damn teams in the last 5 years that have made it to the Super Bowl?
Absolutely.
Let's go back to 17.
Yeah,
I think it was the Eagles. They went on a rookie contract, Carson Wentz. The next year, a rookie contract, Jared Goff got him to the Super Bowl, they didn't win. Then in 2019, what the hell do we see? A rookie contract, Pat Mahomes. The trend in the NFL is when you pay the quarterback the big money, they never seem to win. Every stat you look at, they say, when they pay the guy, they lose, right?
Sure,
you can't pay the other players. So the logic is that's why they push the starters in fast.
Yeah.
If you win on a rookie quarterback's
Deal.
you have the best chance to load your roster. So that would be the only counter argument I give you to getting rid of Stafford. Even though I don't think he's the issue, you might just be able to acquire more talent overall to your organization.
That's
That's
the
the only
thing.
thing.
That's the whole argument.
Yeah.
You can bring in everybody else and pay nothing for your main guy.
And you're right. And if you say these guys are, who's the kid? Trask?
Trey
Florida
Lance,
kid?
Trey Lance, and then was it Wilson at BYU?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're convinced any of these guys are the freaking guys, then you do it. Like look at, I don't think, who is it? The Chargers regret getting off of Philip Herbert and Dan Rivers because his 2-year deal was worth $32 million. You got this kid Herbert playing.
He's going to make 35 or more.
That's right. He's playing as good right now as Rivers, and there's no drop off in his game, and he's getting paid. He's not getting paid anything.
Right.
So, the next 4 years for the Chargers is, hey, this is the time to strike.
Absolutely.
This is now the time to strike. It's no longer build up your quarterback and win in their first deal. It's win on the rookie deal. That's the new culture of the
That makes
NFL.
complete sense.
That's my only thing.
My complete baseline argument is if you have a guy that doesn't deserve to lose his job, don't cut him. There's no reason.
No,
I agree.
They're definitely not
They didn't get cut.
They're definitely not going to
Yeah,
cut.
but why did they retire?
Yeah.
They were sick of being that guy.
If you bring in a new regime and there's hope for like some kind of like turn of the tables that the Lions can be good, why not keep the player that's
And here's the only thing I'll say.
Yeah. If you're Matt Stafford, how many coaching changes is that guy?
like 6, like
Yeah. So every coach is the next guy to him.
No, totally.
Let's put him. Let's trade him to the 49ers.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo's a piece of trash. Like he got paid a lot of money. He's very, very handsome. I'm sure that he could be a professional model.
Yeah.
He's
You're
not.
my best friend.
He's just not a quarterback.
Yeah.
Now you give him to the 49ers. Maybe give him to the Patriots. Another team like.
I don't think you can bet on like a non-proven commodity, like no draft pick coming.
No,
in.
but you can build that
You don't
commodity
know
as
that.
you build as a coach.
It's hard to bet on that when you have this.
So you would rather take, you would say, if I'm the head coach, the new coach of the 2021
Yeah,
Lions,
taking
I
a
would
12-year vet.
I would take the fixed rate of Stafford because I know what I'm getting, rather than gamble on the
100%.
Yeah, no, that's
I ain't gave them $32 million.
I'm agreeing with him. I think that the drawers are so barren in Detroit as it is. They don't have a lot of cap wrapped up in other things right now. The cap is all wrapped up in Stafford. That I think that they could dive into free agency if available and pick up some pieces that can go there. The problem is who wants to play for Patricia and who wants to play in Detroit. They're going to have to overpay for these players right now. And
Patricia's gone, I think.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
I love Stafford. If Roethlisberger, let's just say they go undefeated, win the Super Bowl, there's no chance he comes back for next year. If they were to look for a quarterback, I'd love Stafford. I would love Sam Darnold. I would love. Who wouldn't love Aaron Rodgers, right?
Dave,
like-
Sam Darnold? You're a Jets fan, eh? What do you do with Sam Darnold? That's the real question.
Anyone who watches the New York Jets play
Again,
football,
brother.
no one says that Sam Darnold is the reason they're playing bad football. No one looks at them and says, hey, the quarterback, he doesn't have it. So, my thinking is now we have this guy who has some tape in the NFL playing decent football, and we have this Trevor Lawrence, golden god kid that's coming in with all the hype that's ever been had.
The golden cause.
It's hard, man. I think at the end of the day, first things first, fire Adam Gase.
You really think he's the issue? I'm not asking.
I've talked to guys that played with me on the Stamps that played for the Jets.
Drop a name, Dave.
Told me
Wow,
that.
Hey, you're live, Dave. You just sold us your money.
You're lucky we only have 32 followers right now.
But, I was told, but from anonymous sources, that that Gates wasn't the best guy. That he wasn't the guy that galvanized the troops. It seems like there's two extremes. There's kind of like the coach that is the mind that has all the the schemes and knows how to win and isn't really a true man's man. And there's guys like Vrabel who are a guy's guy.
And coaches, coordinators, right?
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to. You're the brains of the brains.
So I think that Adam Gase has been proven to be a guy that, outside of Peyton Manning for like 3 years, hasn't done much.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to move on. Like as soon as we hired, I don't think anyone watched that press conference when he got hired and was like, "Oh, this is the guy." So he's sitting here like looking around like this. Like no one was like, "This is the fucking future of the franchise." Like no.
Right.
They were in better hands with Rex Ryan, in my opinion.
100%. I love Rex. Big
But-
Rex guy.
And who knows how Belichick would have done for them if he would have stuck around for a second day. But
Yeah.
Second day.
you talked about Vrabel.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And so I want to transition into the next part where the Titans did their team prayer on the Ravens logo
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Team prayer.
Whatever that was. And then they carved up the logo with their cleats.
Yeah, right. We stomped on that shit.
And Harbaugh runs out. No players are coming out.
No.
Just Harbaugh.
Yeah.
So this guy plays professional football currently. Everybody on here has played some level of football. How the fuck would you feel if your coach is the only one running out there? No one's coming to his
Can I
next
go
game.
first?
I would love you to.
I texted Shane this morning. I said, wait till Kaylin hears what the fuck.
This guy's been masturbating.
Yeah, like I woke up with a fucking boner this morning about this.
He's got the Ben Roethlisberger surgery.
I see both sides of this. That's why I was so excited to talk about this. I'm going to talk first as John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
First off, his team was in the locker room, so that's why they weren't out there yet. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for that.
Fair.
There was a few players on the sideline that did not.
Hey, my turn to talk.
Benefit of the doubt, yeah.
Benefit of the doubt. I see your fucking asses on my fucking field doing that shit.
John Harbaugh, your logo. Your logo at center.
John Harbaugh has every fucking right to walk in and say, "Get the fuck off my logo." And Malcolm Brown, I'm sorry, what the fuck have you done in your career besides one fucking play? You're an overpriced piece of shit. And you want my fucking
Shit.
logo?
Hot take.
Well,
Yo, this
fuck
feels
you.
like
So,
Tupac.
What has he done? Well, last year he got a win in Maryland. This year he got a win in Maryland.
Okay, clap, 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 clap. Guess what? You're a fucking loser.
Yeah.
You want to go on my fucking logo? Guess what? If I'm Harbaugh though, this is where I'm at. You come out only talking.
Practice our special teams coach there.
Hey,
Yeah.
first off, I'm still fucking talking.
Yeah,
I'm not
special
talking
teams
to you.
coach. I'm really gonna listen to Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Fired.
I have no fucking problem coming at you as a 60-year-old man. Am I gonna swing at you? No. Why do I lose my fucking job? But I have no problem getting here. I will fucking put my hands on you. I will grab you because you wanna know why? You're a fucking bitch ass punk. You wanna come out here and talk like that? Fuck you.
Whoa.
And what about Simmons and the other
Yeah, and guess
51
what?
guys that were
And
standing
then,
in
yeah, and guess what? You want to put your hands on my coach? First off, none of you are swinging at him. None of you are going to take him down. Because if you do, you're not playing that game. So if I'm Harbaugh,
Sure.
I'm coming at you to get all of a sudden my players see those guys touch me. Yo, we just got this game in the bag.
Sure.
But if I'm the Ravens and I see you guys dancing on my logo, man, it is so embarrassing they didn't come to their coach's aid. And this is now the other side of it.
He's going for both sides.
Yeah, like I'm not cool either way. I'm just telling you how I reacted to it. But like, if I see my coach want it back for me, yes, you said there was a couple players on the field. That's a bitch move by
The
them.
special teams players.
Here's the
The ones
thing.
who
No,
he- who
I don't know
coaches,
fucking
those are
know.
his boys.
Don't talk special teams players. I'm talking about the grad assistant coach.
Yeah,
The
like
guy
why are
that's
you
21.
Like
How
why
is
are
somebody
you
not
throwing
coming in
in?
just
Like
going
throw
yeah.
in.
He
That
makes
guy's-
$2,000 a month.
Yeah,
Just fucking
he
go
gets
and hit somebody.
$2,000 for that shot.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
You don't think anyone's picking up his spine? That guy's fucking getting a raise.
I think the
because
problem
of
with the
that.
guy sitting beside Malcolm Butler was Jeffrey Simmons.
I don't give a
And there wasn't a
fuck.
lot of happening with
Yeah.
Jeffrey
And
Simmons.
like, I don't give a fuck. Like, as a
Yeah.
bitch too. You want to step on my logo? You're gonna hit a 60-year-old
6'4",
man.
330 is.
You're gonna hit a 60-year-old man, and you look like a fucking bitch.
I don't think they were willing to hit anybody. They were just-
Exactly. That's my case.
They-
You're doing that because you think that you can.
Oh, they know they can. They did it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And but if I'm Harbaugh, yo, fuck you. And I think all those guys, like, you remember when T.O. did that shit back in the 90s?
Do you remember when Kevin Byard did it against
Yeah.
Dallas?
Do you remember what Darren Woodson did to fucking T.O.?
Yeah.
That's the difference of that game and today's game. There's no fucking loyalty in this game.
Sure. We did it in Dallas too, and they stopped us. I can't remember the name of the safety.
Like, you don't step on that fucking star in Dallas. It's okay. Wanna know why? Because Jerry will fucking cut your ass.
Juju went to do it and someone knocked the ball
Yeah.
out of his hand.
Yeah, last week.
Wow.
Now, I'm done. I think I hit the quota for F-bombs
Yeah.
today. I think I told Kaylin, fuck you 47 times last second. Now, if someone did on that Stampeder logo, what do you do?
It's definitely a fight outside for sure.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like, as soon as you see something like that happening and your coach is in it, like, especially before you guys, you have to have your coach's back. So the fact that the Ravens didn't do that is pretty upsetting, personally. I know, like, my experience in the CFL, we had a fight this year against the Montreal Alouettes where
Frenchman, huh?
Yeah.
Did you go find Johnny Football or what?
No, he wasn't with the team at that
Oh,
point.
he's not there,
So something happened where there was a guy that used to play for the Stamps that was playing for the Alouettes at the time. He was like jawing back and forth on the logo with one of our players that was hurt. One of our players that was hurt grabbed his chain and snatched it off.
Yes! Oh, yes!
When, you know when that happens, it's going down.
Yeah.
So as soon as that started happening,
Snatch a man's chain.
people started swinging. It was just fucking absolute pandemonium. We run in the middle field. I talked to Sean Jameson about this too. He was there. It was an insane game actually after the fact too. But it was absolute craziness. People are full on punching people in the face barehanded when they have helmets on. You know it's real.
I'm just saying too, like the whole Malcolm Butler thing. If I'm a Ravens player, you want me ear hole you the first chance I get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I can't do it at that moment, sure. Because now there's 47 officials involved, the NFL's out there, they're bringing the tape. Dude, I'll take 15 all day.
That's like the game didn't even seem chippy.
No, they went at Malcolm. Specifically, they went at Malcolm, and anytime that they got a catch on Malcolm, they let him know. And anytime Malcolm
there's this.
Honestly,
So
anytime
there's
Lamar
your-
Jackson completes a pass, anybody should be chirped.
Did you see the touchdown pass that he threw after he threw the touchdown? So he went to the back of the end zone. He goes, celebrates with his teammate. Malcolm Butler's at the end of the end zone, and he walks the other way and shoulder check Butler in the side of the face, like
Okay, I
shoulder check.
I would flip a ball in his face every chance I got. I'd take 15.
But Lamar was trying.
You don't put your hand on it.
Second story.
He's happened twice.
My good buddy and roommate Dave Mackey, who's like the special teams captain of the DC Lions. He plays fullback for them. He plays like all 4 special teams. He's an absolute stud. He got an incident in his rookie year. It was my last year at Western. He was his first year with the DC Lions.
Western Ontario.
Yeah,
the best university football in Canada.
Woo! Go Mustangs. Anyway, so Dave, the day before the game, the Lions touchdown in Hamilton playing the Tiger Cats. And the Tiger Cats were out of the facility at the time. The Lions were on their walkthrough. And as soon as they touched down, the Lions players got all their rookies to do kind of like a dance competition. So all these like players are having their dance competitions. Like some guys are bad, some guys are good, and they're doing it all on the BC Lions logo. So some social media guy happens to like click in while Dave's doing his rookie dance. And at no point did he want to dance. He wasn't like being disrespectful. He was just doing what the vets told him to do. You know what I mean? But that clip of him dancing on their logo went viral before the game. The CFL reshared it, everyone reshared it. So now all these Tiger Cats players are fired up. Absolutely fired up. I remember I was at Western, I got a call from Dave after this happened, and I got complete brought back to the moment. Because when I was being recruited by the Tiger Cats, I remember walking into their locker room, and in their locker room they have the Tiger Cats logo in the middle of it, and it's all sectioned off. Like you can't fucking step on that logo, even if you're a player for the team. So for him to dance like that on the logo, those players were not fucking having it. So when the game started the next day, he was getting lit up, like systematically, like on every single special teams possession. Like guys were coming after the play, just light him up, be like, "That's what you fucking get, you rookie bitch, for fucking stepping on our logo." And everyone's like, Dave's sitting there like, "I was just trying to do what the vets told me to do. Like, I wasn't trying to disrespect anyone." And then after the game, there was a bit of a brouhaha as well. Like those teams were just. It just ups the ante. It makes it personal. It goes from being a paycheck and everyone trying to play instead of there being something on the line to go at each other for.
So is the rookie hazing worse in the NFL or the CFL? The NFL they buy him a dinner, and the CFL they send him out to get headshotted.
No, CFL's still old school though.
Yeah,
sure. There's a clip of some old guys. There's a guy that played in this 1970s.
Yeah, when he hits him on the stage,
going at each other with canes. It's crazy. I love it.
Personally, I loved it. Of course, being a Titans fan, if they were somebody was doing that on my logo, I would have hated it for sure. But I loved it, John. I think it goes back to the time they played each other in the playoffs last year. When the game ended, even though we won decisively, everybody was happy with our win. Ravens players, Ravens coaches, they weren't willing to admit that Tennessee took them to the game. We didn't play well tonight. It was our reason we lost. And even leading up to this whole game, they had a whole lot to prove.
Why does that matter?
Because again, if people like Lamar didn't talk too much.
The only thing that I big trust in is if I call Amy, she's gonna send me a pizza.
It's true.
Joe Kools.
Shout out Amy.
But yeah,
Shout out to Amy and her pizza.
It's a level of disrespect between those two. These are old rivals too. They've been rivals for many years. It's just like the Steelers and the Titans that were rivals as well.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to that. We've not had good blood with them for many years. They stole our free agents who ended up playing better for them for a decade than we had. So it's bad blood there. That's all it was.
Also, cheers to John. We're not shaking that asshole's hand.
Yeah.
Hey, you're talking about coaches coming to your aid. Did you see how Vrabel came out after Harbaugh came out? It was like, hey, you get the hell out of here. This is for players.
No, yeah, but I respect that.
Yeah.
That's him doing him.
Vrabel is such a man. I love
But
him.
at the end of the day, I think John's going to throw hands.
I think Vrabel has a very good career in motivational speaking ahead of him, but winning Super Bowls isn't really in his thing. So.
2 weeks ago, he said he was a player that knows how to make players in position.
Yeah, he does. He knows how to motivate them, but he doesn't know how to coach football.
If
But
you
that's,
have guys underneath you that can coach, and you're that kind of motivator at the top,
That's
I
what
think
you
that's
do.
the recipe for success.
yeah, that's Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
does Mike Vrabel have those guys underneath him?
I don't know.
I don't feel like he does.
I have no idea.
Yeah, we talked about 11-5. I think 9-7 is more realistic. But we'll move on to the Raiders because we want to talk about an AFC team that no one's really talking about that might actually make the playoffs.
And it's unfortunate nobody talks about because of the division. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
They're a good
divi-
team, man.
Yeah, their division's good. I mean, the Broncos are
You
good.
watch them play, like they,
the Broncos are good.
the Broncos have some statement
Hey,
wins there.
I told
That was
Chad
12 and a half
that they
weeks
are
ago.
the
Yeah.
best 4-6 team ever.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
ever.
You
Yeah.
can't go back on a Super Bowl pick.
Yeah.
I get it.
I never picked them. I didn't even pick them to win a playoff game. I said they were going to win the division.
But the Raiders,
It's not mathematically out yet.
the Raiders, though, they remind me a lot of how the Bills were in the AFC East. Like, they just never got talked about. Even though they're a good team and they do the things right, they're just never going to win the division.
Yeah.
Right? That's not the problem. So that's why I think they've been left out, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr, I think, is more than capable as a quarterback. They have lots of targets. Jacobs can run the ball. Their defense is above average. I think
Kelsey said it was the best Raiders defense they played against.
whoever plays them in the
It hasn't
playoffs,
been that bad.
whoever plays them in the playoffs, I think that's a tough out.
For sure.
Honestly.
Yeah, if there's a coach out there that can scheme up a team, Gruden can definitely scheme it up. My only worry is, can he do it? Like, it's been a while since he's been to that dance.
Yeah.
So can he do it in the playoffs? I don't know.
I mean, he's probably hoping that they play the Titans and they just run the ball 70 times up the middle and Henry gets 70 yards, but...
I took 2 shows where the guy didn't take shots or many shots. Now I've gotten about a dozen in the last 10 or 15
Well,
minutes.
it's because you started talking about how great the Titans were.
Stop.
It wakes us up. So what do you guys think? Like, do you think this is the year that the Raiders are back? I know they're one of your favorite teams. Do you think they're
What if the 24th?
The Raiders. I was talking about it earlier with Dave, and I think at the end of the day, yeah, they have a very good offense this year. Derek Carr's playing very efficient football. I mean, he has been good over the last few years. He doesn't get a lot of publicity, especially not in that division. As I think you mentioned earlier, it's a tough division to get any attention right now with Pat Mahomes, obviously. I think the Raiders have a very good thing going on right now. They have a very solid run game. Josh Jacobs has shown that he's a horse, and they're willing, and John Gruden's willing to stick with the run.
Yeah.
I think that shows a real commitment to that style of football, which bodes well for success, especially going into the winter months. So I think that's huge. And what's their rating right now? What are they at? Sorry, what's their record? 6-4? 6-4,
6-4,
right?
yeah, I think so.
And I think we were talking about it earlier too. That last year around this time, the Chiefs were 6-4, and nobody was talking about their defense. People didn't really view them as a contender at that point. I mean, granted, Mahomes was coming off an injury, so that was kind of what led to a 6-4 record. And they ripped off win after win until they ended up winning the Super Bowl. And they largely did it on obviously an improved defense at that point. But if you have the offense going at this point in today's NFL, it's just so hard to keep up.
Yeah.
Right? So one thing I thought was interesting, and I heard, I think it was either Buck or Aikman said it before on Aaron Rodgers' final drive, actually, when he went down and tied the game against the Colts, was Nick Saban said, literally just in the last week or two, he said, in today's day, the best defense no longer beats a great offense. And Buck says, right now we're about to find out, as Aaron Rodgers started on his 4 or 5 yard line with 2 minutes to go against the Colts' very highly touted defense.
Yeah.
And he proved his statement correct. And I think at the end of the day, there's something to that. Nick Saban saying that the trends are coming up. At the end of the day, even though the Raiders don't have the best defense, I don't think you need it.
No.
I don't think you
Yeah.
need
You
to
just
be a
need somebody
contender.
to keep you under like 21 points.
That's exactly it. You need to keep pace with the other teams. And what are the best defense allowing these days anyways? 20, 24, 25 points?
Right.
So what are we talking about here?
Absolutely.
So I think the Raiders, if they can squeak in the playoffs, absolutely you can be a contender. I don't know if they get it. They do have a relatively competitive schedule on the way in, so we'll see how much fight.
Yeah, they got the Chiefs out of the way. I don't know what their actual like the rest of their schedule like looks like. I don't have it in front of me, but
I actually think they have a fairly weak one coming out.
It is fairly weak.
I think
Is it?
they have
It's actually rated the easiest schedule remaining.
Yeah.
I think I'd say the Ravens have it easier, but
I know like the Ravens, they're in deep this week, and missing part of their roster is going to make them obviously a little bit
Yes.
deeper in this week. The Browns are in contention, which is insane to say. The Titans are obviously sniffing around. The Dolphins are out there. So I know that Kaylin thought that the Dolphins were going to jump the Bills. I don't find that to be the case.
no, I don't think so.
I don't see a home playoff game for the Dolphins, but I do think that the Dolphins are going to get in. And right now, if you're just watching who's playing the best football, to me, I think that the Ravens are the odd team out. And
They can't throw the ball. That's what's going to hurt them.
Yeah, they can't throw. The run game right now is gone with the injuries.
And-
But even without
honestly, I don't find their
it
defense
hasn't
to
been
be as
that
strong
good.
as it should be.
Yeah,
Losing Ronnie Stanley definitely hurt them.
for sure.
I don't care who are you. Lose your left tackle. As you can attest to this. As much as we rip on you.
We
Losing
lost
your-
two now.
Yeah, you lose your starting tackle, like you're going to be in trouble. I don't care who you are.
And Calais Campbell's on IR, Brandon Williams is on IR, Derek Wolf's on IR. Like, they have no defensive linemen, and their best offensive linemen are out, and they're built around running the ball and stopping the run. You can't do either of those things.
Not a
It's
rest
a
of
rest.
the
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Now, I mean, do I think that the Ravens are going to win 10 games? Probably, but is 10 games going to be good enough to get you into the AFC playoffs this year? Maybe not. So,
Very competitive AFC.
Touching back on those Raiders, I want to mention my favorite player to watch there. It's got to be so fun as a fan to watch, but as a coach, like you guys that actually know the analytics of football, Jonathan Abram. I love watching the guy throw his body all over the place.
Yeah.
But at
No,
least
like
for-
just caution to the wind.
Doesn't
he,
give a
at
fuck.
one time he tackled a camera stick.
Yeah, and do it again, I bet. But there's definitely 4 to 5 times a game where he makes a misplay.
But
Where
it's
you're like,
all-
oh my
yeah.
God, why would you make a play like that or attempt to make a play like that?
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me
No one
of?
wants me to.
Like living up here, us to be all being hockey fans, I'm assuming y'all are.
Yeah.
When PK Subban touched the puck, you're like, yes. No.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. It's
Like that is literally the equivalent of what I think Jonathan Abram is.
Well, it's crazy how much you can see like offensive players. They do get wary. We talked earlier in the show about there being no Brian Dawkins around anymore that's hitting people.
Yeah.
He's bringing that feel back to the game, and he talks shit. He mouths people off. He slaps mouth guards out of people's hands. After he hits them, he stands over them and doesn't just stand over and hover. He says something to them too. So he's bringing that old school. He's a perfect Raider. Like what else could you ask for in the Raiders Nation?
Do you want to know what the biggest news the Raiders are out? Nelson Aguilar is the most unreliable number 1 receiver I've ever seen. He reminds me of AJ Brown.
You know what?
Fuck
The
Tell me he's not number 1
So,
again.
the idea of the number 1 receiver, I cannot believe that it didn't make the white chalkboard tonight, but we're adding it.
Yeah,
Adding it right
thank
now.
you.
So, realistically, in your mind, how many teams have legitimate number 1 receivers right now?
I'd say over 20 teams in the league.
You think so?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so let me rephrase that one because I took a lot of heat for
So I guess
on this.
because you
You
said
said
20,
you know,
all I want to like, what is your definition of a number 1 receiver?
Separation,
Separation,
yards after the
size,
catch,
speed.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
Have to be able to run all the routes,
Yeah.
and I have to be able to throw it to you and know you're going to catch it.
Okay, so I'm going to have his back a little bit here. I don't know this for sure, but in the last 2 weeks, AJ Brown has taken down all of his fiance and baby pictures off of all of his social media, and that
Is
is.
he the number 1 receiver?
Hold on.
I feel like he's got caught
He's
cheating.
The math adds up.
He got caught cheating. That's what happened.
So for 2 weeks though, last week he gave me heat about him not catching the ball, and he didn't. I had a couple of drops, but he came in clutch in the very end when we actually needed him. But it's just
Crazy play.
coincidentally when social media has happened. I think something personal going on in his life. I've seen him make catches that he should not make, routinely bouncing off of another defender's helmet, where he's doing this and then comes down with the ball and runs for 40 more yards. This is not the last 2 years or 2 weeks is not the AJ Brown that I'm used to. But I want to see from you guys. I took heat for saying that AJ Brown is a number 1 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He runs the routes. He's not fast. He has top tier speed, but the acceleration isn't there. He runs every single route. He's yards after catch. He's the number 3 receiver against man coverage. And if you're going to be a number 1 receiver in this NFL, you better sure as shit beat man coverage. And if you're the number 3 out of all the wide receivers, that's pretty damn good in my opinion. He's also getting an average of 14 yards a catch. That's after the rack yard.
Is number 3 on Pro Football Focus?
Okay, you want to bring the PFF stats? I'm totally.
Is that what you're talking about?
I'm bringing. Well, it's great against man coverage.
But is it on PFF?
Yeah, I think
because they rated the Ravens higher than the Steelers.
They rated. No, you're talking
Just
about one specific ranking, which was ELO, which is based against their strength of schedule. So the Ravens are rated against the Steelers because they haven't had a stronger strength of schedule than the Steelers. It's ELO rating only. You missed that out when you're messaging me about that.
Well,
but PFF, if you're going to talk analytics, the NFL is run by analytics, and the number one analytics for any
but
fan.
as football guys, I don't
guys,
know fuck what analytics.
But the only
I feel like if I throw the fucking ball, you're gonna catch
the
it.
only public analytics that a football guy has is PFF.
Thank you.
We don't have analytics for anything besides PFF.
If I throw the ball, do I want you to catch it?
Facts.
So
that's your fucking
Okay,
job.
so again, I'm going to refer to the gentleman on the set here. Is AJ Brown a number 1 wide receiver?
I don't know if he is. I don't know if he necessarily need one right now. Like Kurowski was talking about, like
100%.
the last couple teams that won the Super Bowl, like I know the Patriots in 2018 when they won. Like who was their number 1 receiver? I guess Edelman. Like,
I don't even call Tyreek Hill number 1.
You know what I mean? Is he
Agreed.
technically like Watkins was also making plays out there back when the Eagles won before that? Like did they really have a number 1 receiver at that point?
I don't think AJ. Like, there's not a shot on AJ Brown.
Maybe though, like Aguilar, they have a bunch of guys.
Elder dropped all the balls. He didn't start catching balls till open.
I think at the end of the day, football's changed where you used to look at like the Cowboys in the 90s, that they had Urban, Aikman, and Emmitt Smith, that they did triplets, like, yeah, you're a good running back, good receiver, good quarterback. But at this point, football's going to change. You look at, first of all, you need a quarterback, you need protection for your quarterback, you need pass rush, and then you need the back end. Those 4 positions are more like wanted and demanded rather than.
I'm not saying AJ Brown's a bad football player.
No, yeah, there's.
Like, that's where you're getting it wrong.
There are
He's
good
on
number 1
the
receivers,
receiver.
but how
But
Is he a number 1
has
receiver?
changed.
Is he
For
number
them,
1?
yeah.
For them is what he said.
For them, he absolutely
is AJ Brown the same as Devontae Adams?
No,
Not even close.
no.
Okay,
They don't even play in the same
how many
league.
wide receivers are like Devontae Adams? Those
Thank
are
you.
X.
Because
Those
those
are
are
X
number
factors.
1 receivers.
No,
That's what
no,
you're saying.
Adams is the number 1 receiver.
That's like saying that there's only 3 number 1 quarterbacks in the NFL. There are X factor quarterbacks, and then there are other quarterbacks who are certainly starters. There are X factor as every single position. There is a shutdown corner, and then there is a number 1 corner. Jalen Ramsey is a shutdown.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody like Kyle Fuller over in Chicago can be a number 1 corner.
Okay.
Okay. Every position has an X factor, and I think that you're talking with 1 A players. Devontae Adams is a 1 A. He jumps. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. He jump cuts his routes before on the line of scrimmage. No other wide receiver does that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's in my opinion. That's a number 1 X factor wide receiver.
Yeah. All I'm saying is I think AJ Brown is your number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
Absolutely is.
I don't think he is a number 1 receiver.
I don't think
He doesn't lead another team in like receiving.
He missed 4 games to start the season.
But we're not talking about stats here. We're just talking about actual presence on the field.
Actual
So-
presence on the field. He broke 1,000 yards in his rookie season. Had 8
look.
touchdowns.
So
That's up. It's a fucking passing league.
And are the Titans a passing team? We won the rushing title last
they
year.
don't have
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
they don't
if a
even
guy has 1,000 yards in his rookie season, I think he's a pretty damn good wide receiver, especially your team.
Did I say he was a bad receiver?
What?
I didn't say he was a bad receiver. You're missing the whole topic
You're
here.
looking at like
As a Titans fan only.
You're looking at analytics. We're saying if it's 4th and 5, is AJ Brown getting open 100%?
That's why
no.
AJ Brown got the touchdown
You know
pass
what?
3 weeks ago. And remember when Tannehill ran to the line and fake spiked it and then threw it over to AJ Brown?
No, I don't watch Titans games.
Well, that was the
I
game-
watch playoff.
That was the
games.
touch. Oh, that was the controversial catch. It
But-
was actually a touchdown.
You know what? I'm gonna say, as a Ravens fan who watched, was it him with the game winner?
Ravens fan too?
Was it him with the
Jesus
game
Like
winner?
that.
Christ, man. When Derrick Henry had the winner. AJ Brown
He had the game tying.
he had the touchdown that tied it up. Yes.
When you see him catch, what was that? A quick 5-yard hook and carries the Ravens.
Which is
team
what
in
he
the
does
end
all the
zone.
time.
You know what? I said that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. He's a talented specimen of a player. I would consider him a number 1 receiver. I would.
Thank you.
I agree with you. I do agree with you.
Yeah.
One vote.
What it comes down to is the Rams don't have a number 1.
Yeah.
The Steelers don't have a number 1. The Chiefs don't have a number 1. And those are 3 of the best teams. I mean, the Saints probably do because Michael Thomas is an absolute monster.
The Steelers, Chiefs, and Rams.
The
They
Seahawks-
absolutely all do have a number 1 receiver.
The Seahawks.
Juju Smith,
Not at all.
Tyreek
No.
Hill,
Claypool for
Hey,
sure.
hey,
Hill.
did you watch any of the
Mike
games
Thomas?
last year?
I'm not Mike Thomas.
Mike Thomas
but
still
he is
number one
technically- I don't
But
think
like,
Mike
that's
Thomas is
still
good.
went off.
But they're still number 1 receivers.
All I'm
No.
saying is you don't need that dog receiver.
Juju Smith-Schuster is not a number 1 receiver. I am a Steelers fan through and through.
You're a Steelers.
The
That's
fact,
the biggest homer
yeah.
there is in this room.
The fact of the matter is last year he disappeared because one, he had no protection, and two, he didn't have a quarterback to get it to him perfectly. This year he has a healthy Deontay Johnson and Claypool emerging, and all of a sudden he's back in the end zone.
Your boy Claypool, number one receiver.
No.
Not yet.
What about this rookie year? What's he got? 10 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what I heard AJ Brown did last
I
year.
mean,
Right?
that's-
As a rookie, 1,000 yards, same stat.
Chase Claypool's the
Leonard
first.
being double
He's the
covered.
first
I thought it was
receiver
nominated.
to have 10 touchdowns in 10
I'm
years
just
since the
saying.
1960s.
The Canadian kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not number one though. He's not getting attention like number one
Yeah.
receivers get.
And as soon as he got the attention that a number one receiver gets,
Hold on.
he
Who's the
disappeared.
number one? Claypool's the number one?
No.
Claypool's been schemed up every single. That's why Juju's doing well.
But he's not getting open anymore.
That's because he's being covered.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole thing of number one receiver.
You have to be able to get open in coverage.
I agree with you, but if you're also making an entire defense scheme against you to shut down an entire side of the field and leaving the other side of the field open, that's a job for
But
a
a
number one
true
receiver.
number one still makes plays
Yeah.
and gets the shit done. Fuck,
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah. Kaylin is having a hard time. PFF isn't explaining to him what a number one receiver is. So we're going to talk about, will Andy Dalton win the division for the Cowboys? Who do have a number one receiver, by the way?
Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
for sure.
The only way that he wins that division is if Carson Wentz loses the division.
Carson Wentz has already lost it.
Well, I want to just pull up real quick if I could. I wish I had better service here, but I'm looking at the Cowboys.
We have a stat guy back there. If you yell at him, he'll push
Okay,
it.
hey, could you please, stat guy?
Yeah?
If you could please, could you just read me off? I was looking at it right before I came on the set. What is the remaining schedule for the Dallas Cowboys?
I have nothing to check stats, but
You have
Oh,
nothing to
yeah,
check.
you don't
I'll stat guy up too.
Because from what
Let me be
You did
stat
my
guy
number
number
two.
two.
I don't know that. Like I said, I just don't have any service down here. I mean, as good as the what it was the kitchen sink pizza is here,
Yeah.
the Wi-Fi is not meeting the quality. The Wi-Fi does not meet the
That is
quality
a
of
good.
the
That
Mr.
is a
Insurance
good
man.
plug. That's
It's
a
not-
good plug. Speaking of that, did we get our pizza yet?
Not
He's
yet.
probably bringing it, right?
But going back to that, yeah, you know what? I think the other day that NFC East, the Eagles don't have a chance because when you look at their remaining schedule, they have a chance to win maybe one game. But the thing is, it's going to come down probably, on all honesty, to this Thursday game between Washington
And I agree
Dallas.
with you.
Because Chad, sorry, Chad's laughing.
No, I'm laughing with you actually, which doesn't happen a lot on this show.
With me because the Wi-Fi's bad or we have the schedule up.
I understand.
Okay, so hold on.
They have
Hold on, hold on.
Packers, Saints, Cardinals, and Seahawks left.
Hold on. So
That's the
hold on.
Eagles schedule.
That is the Eagles schedule. Can you say that again? It's Packers,
I just
Seahawks.
closed it. So they go Seagulls this week.
Seahawks.
Next Seahawks, sorry.
go Seagulls.
Did you say Seagulls?
Seahawks, Packers, Saints, Cardinals.
Whoa.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm going all Cowboys.
It's a good thing they got their Super Bowl a couple
All
years
joke
ago,
back
right?
then.
Good God.
That's a rough 4 week. That's a rough.
That's bad, yeah. You gotta look at the strength of schedule. I think the division's wide open at this point. Any of the 4 teams could win, right?
I think Dalton's the best quarterback in the division, though.
For sure. I like Danny Dimes. He's not bad. He makes some plays.
Yeah, I have no problem with the
The entire
Giants.
team's going to become better.
For sure. I don't mind the Giants at all. I think, honestly, the coolest story for me would be if Alex Smith won a division. That'd be
Okay,
amazing.
sorry. So what I have left is this, and this is what I'm saying. Seriously, the Cowboys schedule, if I read it out loud to you, this is how winnable this is. You ready? We got the Washington football team on Thursday. This is the swing
Winnable,
game.
yeah.
Who wins this game, I really think will dictate the division. I want to say Washington before, but the remaining schedule for Dallas, okay? They got Baltimore. That's the one loss. You got Bengals with no Burrow. You got the Garoppolo-less or Garoppolo with Niners. Doesn't matter. They're useless, okay? You got the Eagles in week 16, and then you end with the Giants. That sounds to me like they win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 6.
They always
5 of
control their own
6
fate, right?
to finish at what? 8-8. They win the division.
This is Washington.
This is the Cowboys schedule. The best I see them going is they're going to finish 5-6 right now. Sorry, they're going to finish 5-1 right now, ending the division at 8-8. They're going to win because the best that I forecasted the Washington football team with was they were going to finish. They got a similar schedule. They just don't have to play the Ravens. They play the Seahawks. I had them winning.
And they got
I had them
the
winning
Steelers.
4 of their next 5 if they win against the Cowboys. It's really going to matter on this
That
Thursday
game will
night
then
game. This
be
Thursday
a
night
change.
game is honestly the deciding factor. The Eagles, I'm sorry, they don't have a chance because
The Eagles are done.
shoot, man, who'd you say? They play the freaking Seahawks.
Cardinals.
The
So
Cardinals.
this is the
and
biggest
And the
3-7
Saints, that's
game
3
of all
losses.
time.
Big time, sure.
Yeah, like,
So-
I
So
think-
I don't know. I think the Dallas Cowboys are absolutely in the division despite the miserable beginning with McCarthy. I think they're gonna come out
I
and
would
win at
love
8-8.
it if Washington
Or
won.
7-9.
That'd be the
Yeah.
biggest like take home story.
that would like
Amazing.
solidify my comeback player of the year pick.
Well, he's where he wanted
for
for sure, right? At this point.
Just for showing up.
There's no way.
He can't win it yet. He hasn't done enough.
He's only played in 2 games.
Is this
Just for showing up. I saw the
I-
documentary and his leg, the way it looked. Like, just
Yeah.
for playing professional sports after that.
Ben Roethlisberger had to get
Yeah.
Tommy gun because he masturbated too much.
Ugh.
There is a comeback story there, and you gotta pay attention.
Yeah, on his wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
He doesn't watch porn anymore. And
Wow.
now they're 10-0.
She should be the comeback player of the year.
He
She did it. She
gave
did
it. Yeah, the guy gave up porn, and they're now 10-0.
That's amazing.
That's a
Sounds
story in
awesome.
itself.
You got
Sounds
an
awesome.
inside scoop on that, so?
Hey,
I've never even heard
You just
that.
gotta keep your ear to the streets.
I'm hearing that as fact.
Jimmy
I don't know
gossip
if
over
it's
here,
real,
right?
Yeah. You'll look it up. It was well reported.
So we're all agreeing that Dalton is going to win the division.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
100%.
So we're all in on that.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I read that
The-
schedule out. I think everyone just said that's
Yeah.
definitely.
The only thing that's more certain is the turkey bowl isn't complete unless you order pizza and beer from Joe Kools.
That's right.
Pre-order on the phone.
And you can pre-order on the phone, as
Have
William
to.
just said back there.
Yeah.
After what?
You have to. For
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to pre-order on the phone. Joe Kools Pizza Wings.
But
For
if you want to
turkey.
order on the
Turkey
same day, you can order on their app or website or whatever.
Yeah.
But either way, get the Going for 2 special. It's still unclear what that is.
Just so you got it.
Yeah, a funny thing, like something light, and it's something that you guys are going to enjoy too. We were talking earlier about the cadences that you can hear from quarterbacks while there's no fans in the stands, and how interesting that is. And I mean, Derek Carr's been one of the biggest components of it.
Yeah.
But how interesting is that for you? Like, you still play professional football,
Yeah.
so can you pick up on something that he's putting down, or?
Sometimes it's cool. Like I think I heard Derek Carr say James Harden the other day.
Yeah, it was so good.
And immediately I was like, okay, like what about James Harden is significant? I was like, oh, like he's a lefty, and they ran the ball to the left, and I was like, oh,
They didn't
that,
pass.
like that could be James Harden. So it looks like you could say that, but I think it's cool because you realize how much football is another language. You know what I mean? Like when you go to any kind of pro scheme, you just realize that like you have to really entrench yourself and learn all those terms and all those things and what they actually mean. And there's so many things on the line of scrimmage that are said that are kind of swept under the rug when there's fans.
How many false words is there?
A bunch. There's a bunch of dummy words for sure. And I think Omaha was all bullshit for a long time.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, that didn't mean anything.
Like, I don't want to know your words because that's you can't.
No, I can't say any of our words, but there are.
But
definitely words
like,
that
you have
mean-
like X
Yeah,
amount of
like-
dummy words.
Absolutely, 100%. Every team does. We'll go up there and make offensive line calls as if it's pass. If we're going against a team that we know knows our calls, so we'll make calls as if it's pass, knowing that it's a run play.
Yeah.
Like things like that, where you're knowing that they know us, so we make our own adjustment. Like there's a bunch of little game within the game kind of moments that you realize happen, and not even the fans in the stands definitely has shown that to the public.
So like, it probably makes it a lot more enjoyable than for you to hearing these things. Like you're hearing linemen make calls, you're hearing quarterbacks make calls. And I love what you said we talked about earlier, when Cam Newton called out the one linebacker.
Oh, you read
You watch film, he called him Luke Kuechly on it right away. It's like-
You watch film too, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think it's really cool. We're seeing that every week now.
Yeah, it's awesome. Love it for sure.
And that's what we talked about for the season started. We hope they don't edit it too much.
Yeah, I want to even talk shit.
Yeah, I don't want that 7-second delay.
No.
So as the guy who only played high school football, didn't play at the super competitive level or anything
Yeah.
like that. Is it really cool when you prepare all week with this game film and then you walk up to the line, you're like, shit, they're in a formation that I recognize.
Oh,
and
it's
I think this
amazing.
is, and it plays out the way it's supposed
That's
to.
when you guys are working. As soon as we walk up and we're so well prepared, and we're honestly playing as 5 as 1, so we're from tackle to tackle, and we're able to see what the coach prepared us for. That's the best feeling in football, when you feel prepared and you know exactly what you're up against. As soon as you're playing on the line and you see something that you're not familiar with, that's when it's terrifying. That's when it's oh my god, how do we even scheme against this? Okay, you go back to your camp base rules and try to make something happen from that. But when you're prepared and know exactly what you're going against, and you can all play and not have to have any kind of disagreements or anything like that, it's amazing.
It's really cool that you said it because being a Buccaneers fan, that's what I followed a lot growing up. When they won the Super Bowl with John Gruden in 02,
Yeah.
Gruden coached the
Exactly.
Raiders.
That was
And,
they knew what the Raiders would do.
The Raiders they were calling our plays
Yeah.
from the defense. He's like, we didn't change the terminology, which is on Bill Callahan.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's absurd.
Which is crazy. He's like, this safeties, like, it was Dexter Jackson and John Lynch.
Yeah.
We're calling out plays from the
Was
defensive
it the
back.
sluggo or whatever?
Yeah, like just calling the routes receivers
Yeah.
were running.
It was wild. It was absolutely I've ever seen
So
that
like,
wild.
how like for you, like when you say that you're coached up that much, it's
Yeah.
just,
I think personally the football
it's like a
is
scripted practice.
yeah, football is a coach's sport, in my opinion. I think that's why the Patriots have been so successful, because Belichick is the best coach in the sport. I think that basketball is a player's sport, baseball is a GM sport, and football is truly a coach's sport where the coaching matters that much. That's why you see the Patricia playing with the Lions doing so poorly. And I think going back to the Raiders too, like my one thing that I saw, that just watching the game yesterday, like the communication from Gruden to Carr to Rodney Hudson on the whole line, like how much in sync those guys were.
Hudson's going to the jail. He's
Oh,
not holding
he's
everything
the
down.
man in there.
Yeah.
And then you see like with the Bucks, like there seems to be a disconnect from Bruce Arians to Brady to Jensen when he's playing center.
And I think that's what they brought shit from the end, right? Like,
Yeah, so like,
so that Jensen's a bad center.
I think there's guys that are naturally guards. There are guys like when you play center, you have to know what's going on that scheme. Like you are the true brain of the line. You know what I mean?
So when shit went down, like Jensen just doesn't get what those two want.
Potentially, it's hard to say from the outside looking in, like where the disconnect is being had. But it definitely seems like they're not on the same page. And if you look at the Raiders, that's one thing that I feel like they are. Is Gruden is truly like has his system in the brains of that center and that quarterback, and they're reaping the benefits of it.
The cadence on TV for me is awesome. I remember, when NFL Network was brand new, and we were kind of getting some inside stories and some, wired up or whatever maybe. I remember like sitting at work and having a conversation with a friend saying like, I wonder what it was like to hear the inside of a huddle. You don't hear that ever, right? And now because of the fans not being around and this technology is growing in the sport too, like we're hearing all these new cool things. And for me, like it makes more fun to the game, right? It adds things to the game for sure. Matt Nagy's calls, we hear about those playbook calls, but then hearing Derek Carr walk up and call James Harden, or it's not just the Lucy, Ricky, it's real, it's unique football. And I think that's really like fun for us to watch for sure. And it's when we get the kids involved too, because they're going to go to the Blue 69, it's going to be James Harden 64 or something, right? So that's
It's the Rams that kind of like made it really like pop culture.
Yeah.
Like they took over.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like they're yelling Tupac on the field, like stuff like that. And like
Peyton
that
Manning was huge too.
Yeah, they were.
When
Omaha was probably the
Back
biggest.
when you would play Madden back in the day, you'd play against Peyton Manning, and like no matter what, that play clock was going down to 1 second because he was making every single audible, even in the video game up until that moment. Like it was wild to see how much control he had over the field and all the things that he would say, like Omaha, for example, that were just like so out of nowhere it seemed like, but they meant something or didn't. Like there's no way to
I think it's about a fake call. It's just like fake calls, fake notice, fake motions.
Oh yeah.
All it is, it doesn't matter where you move or how you get there. As long as you're set when the play starts, that's all that matters, right?
Totally.
You can line up like you said, your boy's Dave Mackey. That guy lines up all over the field,
Completely, yeah, he's moving everywhere.
and it doesn't matter where he starts. It just matters where he
Where he
finishes,
finishes,
right?
totally, yeah.
And
And
all
you
those
play
calls
defense,
adjust that, and probably 80% are probably bluff calls. Like he already knows where he's going.
Yeah.
It's just words and noise at that point.
It's crazy. Like the amount of like mental games that happen in football. Like, I know a story that I told Alex before that I say all the time is when the Giants were playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. The Patriots in the 2007 season, their O-line was rolling. Like they were trading twists. They weren't letting up any sacks. Brady was so protected. And the best thing they were doing is they were so good at twists. Like they were so good at communicating twists and making sure no D linemen were able to have any twists happen against them. So what the Giants did in that time is they started doing something called a coffee house. And a coffee house is when the D linemen, like, they pretend as if they're gonna twist, and then no twist happens. So like a twist, when that happens, there's someone that's a pick, and there's someone that goes around. So usually when you're the person that goes around, you look for that pick to happen and you wrap around. Whereas in this situation, they would do what's called a coffee house. They would get up, look, see for like as if there was a pick coming in. The O-line were so entrenched and ready for this pick to happen. We're good for beers. Yeah, we're rolling.
This guy is good for beer. It's okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Back
Yeah,
to the
save me a
story.
little
So,
pizza too.
it was almost like I'm just getting back, like it's almost like a fake within a fake. Like there's so many things happening in football. The guy is looking for a pick. There's no pick happening, so the O-lineman looks for that pick, and as soon as that O-lineman looks, the D-lineman goes. So this D-lineman's literally getting a rush by not rushing. Like, and that's like the game within the game that happens that is so intricate and so crazy. It's just wild.
Football is chess, isn't it?
It's wild. Once you get to that level, it's wild. It's wild.
Just yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay, for sake. We all want beer.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
And pizza sounds good too.
We can't see that from here.
Last call.
What we should move on to is our child camp pick'em, because we have a special child camp pick'em this week because there's 3 games this Thursday.
Yep.
Usually we would only pick the Thursday, like the one Thursday game. But we got lots of people on here, so
So fellas, if you don't know what the child camp pick'em is, what we're doing is we're picking games here, and then the loser of that is going to go for a little bit of a dip out in Lake Erie and Port Stanley.
That's why it's all
Yeah.
yeah. We wear this thing like the yellow jacket in Tour de France. Whoever's
Just
losing
backwards.
wear this thing.
Excellent.
Last place gets
Chad's worn it every week except for 1 week when he shared it with me.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I don't
think
like to cuddle, alright?
Hey, we're happy you got that thing. It's Turkey Bowl, and because it's Turkey Bowl, you should probably think, I'm going to watch football, and I'm definitely going to order takeout from Joe Kools.
Absolutely.
Pre-order on the phone, because that's what Liam says, and
That's
Liam
right.
says that because Amy said it.
There we go.
And
But if you order on Turkey Bowl, where do you get it from?
Joe Kools?
The app.
Oh,
No, the trick
yeah.
question.
No.
You do get it from Cool, so you were part of the
I don't know. I feel like I get half points. I don't know.
Yeah, you got it. For sure.
We do have the Lions and the Texans, which
Oof.
isn't a great game, but our guy Mike Smith was up there chirping in our ear, asking us to pick his next coach. So,
Which makes me believe the Texans are going to win.
well, I'm gonna defer my pick on this one to my man beside me here because we have a celebrity on here, and it's tough to not.
He's got some good analytics, right? So
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. This guy talked about someone's stats and someone's chain, so.
I'm gonna go Texans Lions. I like the Texans. I think that the Texans had a pretty big statement win. I think everyone last week was kind of looking for the Patriots to beat the Texans as if they were just kind of like a who gives a shit about them kind of team. But they came in. Deshaun Watson was on fire. They were playing amazing football, and I think that they'll stay in that trend. And Matt Patricia will be one step closer to getting canned.
Getting those papers, eh?
Yeah. If he loses, like, does he make it out this week? Like, this would be a good week to fire him, right?
I've
'Cause
never
there's
been a fan
11
of
fires.
firing. I don't think there's a point to fire a coach mid-season. I think at that point, like, what are we like? Are we just gonna have these kind of like stupid games after that? Like,
Yeah.
who cares? Like,
Yeah,
just wait for the last game of the season, get him out.
Unless you're going to hire his like predecessor
Totally,
in-house.
completely. If there's someone in there that you like, totally do it.
I think they're
That's
scrapping the whole staff.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're gonna fire everyone,
Is
just quit this.
Jim Bob Cooter still around? He's got the best name in football, I don't know.
Great name.
He does. Since we're just giving picks away here, I'm going to ask Alex actually to take my pick for this one.
For Texans Lions.
He's a Texans and a Lions fan, so
This is when I get to watch the battle inside the line. I've seen you kind of rip or break down some teams recently here in this podcast, so I think I'm going to like what you take.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough one, really. Lions are obviously playing at home. They do every Thanksgiving Thursday. Matt Patricia, you guys have said it all show. You guys hate him. Nobody here wants him, but he's coaching for his job. So I'm sure he's going to come in, and if the players have any shred of respect for him, they will play hard for him to kind of maintain his position. And sometimes that can go a long way. You know that. But that being said, Deshaun Watson, Texans, they looked good last week. They did look good. I think at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the theme of the day. And after this Thanksgiving, Matt Patricia's going home for the holidays. He might be fired out. He might be fired out. That's my guess. That's my hot take.
That's awesome.
Matt Patricia's got home alone. Damn.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Alex. And did you make a pick here, Chad? I didn't know who you checked.
I said Texans.
Yeah,
It's just like,
off
I just, after what they did last week, and the way Deshaun Watson spread the ball around,
Yeah.
like, I'm a huge Will Fuller guy. I'm a Notre Dame guy. And he's been clutch. That guy only scores touchdowns. I think he's played like 45 games. He has like 22 touchdowns. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
But like, and that was with D-Hop. And now like, he's the guy there. But now like, obviously, once again, he's on a true number one, Kaylin. I get that. So now they're spreading the ball around. And guys are bringing the ball.
Circling all back there, guys. Right back in the way.
Just because you're number one somewhere doesn't mean you're number one. And now Deshaun's spreading that ball around, and other guys are getting looks, and it's making plays.
Do you like the Cowboys or the football team?
Well, because there's a true number one on Dallas. No, I think Andy Dalton's actually the guy down in Dallas, and there's enough weapons there. And as much as I want to cheer for the football team, I like their team names. It's kind of funny.
And apparently they're going to keep it.
Yeah, it's on the
Yeah,
top.
no
It's the top
Yeah,
three
it's
choices from what I'm understanding.
No.
Like, I think they have it.
I
I think
love
it's
it.
amazing.
I think it's great. I would love
Like,
to.
you have you go from being like, hey, you're like hurting people, being just called a football team.
There's no
Yeah.
other team colors in the league that could take that team name on though. If you think about
Yeah.
it, there's not a single
Well,
other team. It just works well.
I don't
Pretty
know.
wild.
There's got to be something.
I like the Hogs. I want the Hogs to be the
Yeah.
No,
So-
I'm going Cowboys. I think that there's too many hogs in Dallas catching footballs.
Ooh.
So,
I see what you did there.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys on that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a great pick.
Actually, I think I'm going to go with the Washington football team.
Okay.
I like Alex Smith. I like what he's doing. The secondary in Dallas is not very good right now. And I think that gives the Washington an opportunity to kind of pick on them a little bit. It's going to be a close game for this division, but I think it's going to come down to Alex Smith winning it.
Well, I was unsure going in, and then I'm starting to remember watching the condensed tape of the Washington football team play the Bengals and how bad it was. And I'm not sure that Andy Dalton's any good. However, he has better receivers around him than he did in Cincinnati, and he took that team to the playoffs. He has a better running back than he ever has, and I don't see any reason why the Cowboys aren't winning the division. And I know you're saying this one's going to be close. I'm not sure.
Zeke might be fumbling it again. Who knows? It really comes down to that.
I think this one's a boat race.
All right.
Chad?
We got Ravens and Steelers, and given the fact that the whole Ravens team has that disease we're not going to talk about,
That Rona.
the one we just choose that doesn't exist on this show because we're
Yeah.
all having fun here and making fun of Kaylin.
By the time that game kicks off, I'll be a bottle of bourbon deep and a full pizza from.
Joe Kools, that's toboggan.
Oh shit!
Bro,
Yeah.
that better be
Yeah.
while you drink the bourbon.
Yeah. Hey, they got that lunatic fridge. I'm gonna drink a bottle of bourbon. Steelers roll.
Yeah, I'm going Steelers on this one. I'll be some massage with the bottle of bourbon.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious how this one's going to go down. And I think Tomlin isn't. It might be the only game that we'll see Tomlin smile from beginning to very end. Like, I know he's a pretty serious guy when he needs to be.
Do you think that he tries to tackle somebody on the kick return this year?
I hope.
Because that's what happens the last time the Steelers and the Ravens played on Thanksgiving.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but it'd be nice to see what happens with him and John Harbaugh.
He might not have to this year yet. Well, they have a good relationship, and he might not have to kick. I'm not sure that they're going to have to kick off the ball.
I mean, after halftime, we might see Tomlin on the sidelines on a bench with feet up and just.
You
All right,
think?
fellas.
You think like they're going to pull the coach?
Yeah,
Like it's going to
I
get
think
that
it's
out
gonna
of
come
hand.
that far down. Like, he's going to be taking recess for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean that's a little like great. Like I do think it's still going to be a somewhat competitive game, but the Ravens don't have anybody to throw the ball to their targets, and their best receiver right now is Des Bryant, who has 3 catches in 3 years, and Gus Edwards is not a game-changing running back. So if you just sell out knowing that he's going up the middle,
Would you say he's a number one?
no, I think he's number. I believe he's number 3.
Yeah.
Maybe he's.
He might be number one on some
Yeah.
teams, all right?
You know, Johnny Drama said that vagina's his 3rd favorite hole, so I think that's Gus Edwards. But
Anyways, producer Liam's like, yo, you guys gotta shut the fuck up.
yeah, he's been saying
Yeah,
that.
he's doing that like shut up dance.
Yeah.
I gotta go home.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Big thanks to Dave Brown. Alex.
Yeah, pretty
Alex,
good.
I already put it twice, so we'll go for 3 times.
It was great listening to you break down some stuff and give us some insight information there. And Alex, you got some great info over there too.
AK-47 over there with shooting hot fire.
Yes, that was some good shit.
Thanks for having me on set, boys. Appreciate it.
Anyways, check us out on Facebook and all social media platforms and podcast sites too. So.
You know what? You sounded it out.
Anyways, boys, cheers.
Yeah, catch you next time.